Good morning, everybody. It's about 25 after 5. I have made it into my office and I'm tired. I didn't get to bed until like 10:30, almost 11 o'clock. My daughter was still awake at that point and she had no signs of going to sleep. So even though I was trying to go to sleep, she kept crawling over to me on the bed and trying to use me as leverage to stand up. It was an interesting night. But I woke up on time and I made it to the office early even, so that's cool. Um, it's gonna be an interesting day today. Got that new guy going back to this contract that he probably has no business being on. Not because he's a bad guy, not because he's even a bad electrician. It's just it's hard being the guy to finish up a contract when you're not the guy who started it, and the people who started it are unavailable. So, um, as far as morning reflections are concerned, um, I don't know. I'm not really sure, which is kind of par for the course these last few days, as I've been waking up early and kind of failing to do my little morning routine. Um, I don't really start off the day thinking about really anything that I need to like focus on throughout the day. I kind of end up just taking things as they come, and that's an important skill to have, to just kind of let the shit roll in and deal with it as it comes in. But I generally like having something, something and some sort of like guidance. And So maybe before the calls start coming in, I'll do that. But I wanted to check in with you guys first and say good morning. And maybe that's what I'll talk about this morning. Like what happens when your like morning routine kind of goes out the window and you're not really able to do it. And I wouldn't even say that I'm not able to do it. I'm just not making the time because I have to wake up so early. That's like the excuse that I'm using. And I'm sure I could, wake up 15 minutes earlier and use that time to make my coffee and sit still for a little bit. But man, that means like waking up at that's the difference between waking up at 3:30 and waking up at 4. Um, and That early in the morning, that half hour is like a big deal. I don't know, like in hindsight, it doesn't seem like such a big deal, um, but like in the moment, it is. It's like this huge deal. Like I need that 30 minutes. Um, so but sometimes it just stuff happens and I don't get to do my little morning routine, and I feel the effects, maybe not like the first day, but after a few days, like I definitely feel the effects. I feel a little bit more scattered, a little bit more agitated, um, and I start to really feel the need for that like morning meditation time. Um, and so I guess like I think that those like little morning routines, or sometimes even if they're not morning routines, but if you have like any kind of routine that you do throughout the day, whether it's in the morning, like some sort of midday thing where you try and get recentered, or some like end of the day reflection. um, I think those things are important. Anything that helps you to like remain focused and centered is like super important. Um, and I know that's the case for me. Um, and I want to hear from you guys. I want to know, what do you guys do to get refocused and to get recentered and kind of recharge for the next push, whatever you're doing, be it work or playing with your kids or, whatever it is, what do you do for yourself to make sure that you're like mentally there to, to be able to respond to whatever's going on throughout the day. I have found that when I take the time to do that, I try and do something like that, in the morning and at night. In the morning, I kind of like try and just listen and listen to my thoughts and let them go their natural course until they kind of settle on, something that I should be focusing on for the day, or like any specific tasks that I need to do. Because I'll tell you what, I can make as many to-do lists as I want. And I can even get them done. But the times that I feel the best are when I sit still and I listen for like that internal guidance, the things that like don't necessarily seem to have anything to do with what my goals are, like for instance, sometimes, my goal is generally like, here's what I have to do for my business, here's what I have to do at work, here's what I got to do with my kid, and I can make these to-do lists. And then I'll be sitting in, my little meditation in the morning, and like the thought will come in like, finish that song you've been working on, because I'm a musician as well, and or like, call your dad today, something that like doesn't seem to have anything to do with like working towards my ultimate goals. But I'll tell you what, if I ignore those little bits of like guidance and those little things that seem to pop up like from inside of me, if I ignore those, I'm definitely much more scattered. Like I'm much more scattered throughout the day, and I'm, much more liable to be, agitated and restless and irritable, just discontent. But if I follow those, if I make sure that I do those little things that seem to come up from inside, then I have a much better day, and I have a much easier time like navigating throughout my day, and even like getting my to-do list done. For some reason, it's easier to do that when I do these other little things that just pop up. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you do to kind of prepare for the day? And what do you do at night to reflect on your day? I go down at, when I sit down at night, I think about, what I did throughout that day. I think about like, do I owe anybody an apology? Because sometimes I do things without thinking, and I hurt people, and I try not to. I try to be kind, and I try to be giving, and all that stuff. But I'm human, and I screw up. So I think about, is there anybody that I owe, an apology to? And I just think about like where I could have done better. And then I try and make it a point to do better the next day. So what do you guys do in the morning to like prepare for your day? And what do you guys do at night, to reflect on that day? I want to hear from you guys. So comment on this, thing. Real quick, piece of good news. This is like the longest morning reflection I've had in a long time. But piece of good news. I sent out a little like mini right hook on Instagram and Facebook yesterday, asking for people who would be interested in being interviewed on my podcast. And I actually got somebody who seems to be like right up my alley. So that's cool. So I'm going to be talking to him later today, and we're going to see if we can set something up. But in the meantime, I got a lot of work to do. I got some materials to put on order somewhere, and I'm going to go ahead and do that and get ready for my day and maybe have my little morning meditation. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry if I sounded a little bit scattered. It's just where I'm at this morning. But happy Friday. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll check in with you. I'll check in with you this afternoon. All right, guys. Have a good one.